Boating in America once symbolized the essence of freedom and prosperity. The glint of fiberglass under the summer sun, the roar of an outboard motor, the thrill of weekends spent gliding across lakes or coasting the coastline. These were hallmarks of the American dream. But not all boats were created equal. Behind the glossy advertisements and budget-friendly price tags lurked a series of manufacturers that took shortcuts, gambled with safety, and delivered subpar craftsmanship. These were not just minor flops or forgettable designs. They were significant failures. Here, we sail through the wreckage of the worst boat manufacturers to ever set sail in U.S. waters and uncover why their names have faded into the mist. Bayliner before Brunswick cleaned up the mess. Few names trigger more heated debate in boating circles than Bayliner. To some, it's a decent entry-level boat. To others, especially those who own models from the late 70s through early 90s, it's a cautionary tale wrapped in fiberglass. Before the massive Brunswick Corporation acquired Bayliner in the mid-80s and significantly improved the brand, Bayliner had a reputation for building boats that were, let's say, more floating lawn furniture than seaworthy craft. What went wrong? Underbuilt hulls. Bayliners were notorious for being too lightly constructed. Many suffer from hulls that couldn't handle choppy water. Stringer rot. With stringers with poor encapsulation meant that water intrusion was inevitable, and once the wood rotted, structural integrity was compromised. Electrical nightmares. Boats came with bare-bones wiring, often using automotive-grade components not meant for marine environments. Shorts, corrosion, and mystery battery drains were common. The fallout. Bayliner became the butt of jokes at marinas across the country. Friends don't let friends buy Bayliners. Or worse, the only boat that comes with its tow rope. Brunswick eventually invested heavily in quality control and design, and modern Bayliners are a far cry from their earlier disasters. But the damage had been done, and those early models still haunt used boat marketplaces and frustrated second-hand owners. Galaxy Boats, gone without a ripple. Galaxy Boats emerged during the 1980s boating boom, when manufacturers were pumping out vessels at breakneck speed to meet growing demand from baby boomers and weekend warriors. But Galaxy proved that quantity never trumps quality. What went wrong? Delamination. The bond between fiberglass layers failed frequently, causing large air bubbles and weakened hulls. Hull flex. Even mild waves would cause disturbing flex in the boat's floor, leading to a bouncy, uncomfortable, and potentially dangerous ride. Hardware issues. Cheap cleats, hatches, and helm controls rusted quickly or came loose entirely. Zero innovation. The designs felt outdated even at launch, uninspired, clunky, and not remotely competitive with sportier offerings from competitors. The fallout. Galaxy had no distinctive brand identity. There was no feel to their boats, just generic fiberglass shells with little soul. As quality issues mounted and resale values plummeted, dealers began dropping the line. Eventually, the company faded without a bang or a legal scandal, just a slow fade into obsolescence. Renken Boats, the fast food boat of the 80s. Renken Boats were the poster child for cheaply made, mass-produced boats designed to ride the wave of boating's popularity explosion. The company didn't set out to produce premium products, just to offer affordable, functional boats. Unfortunately, even that bar wasn't met. What went wrong? Rot everywhere. Rankin used untreated plywood in critical areas like the deck and transom. Once moisture got in, it would turn to mush, destroying structural integrity. Deck flex. Walking on a Rankin deck often felt like stepping on a trampoline. Some even cracked underweight. Shoddy construction. Caulking was sloppy, gel coat blistered easily, and many hulls lacked uniform thickness. Bare bones interiors. Seats would fade, foam would disintegrate, and consoles would crack in UV light. The fallout. Rankin's reputation as a throwaway boat meant that used models sold for pennies, and insurance companies were wary of covering them. The company shut down in the mid-1990s, leaving behind a trail of boaters who learned the hard way that affordability and reliability don't always ride in the same boat. Invader Boats. Flashy, flimsy, forgotten. Invader Boats were aimed at the youth market, compact, colorful, and designed to look like mini speedboats. They were fun until they weren't. What went wrong? Poor hull design. The short, flat-bottomed boats were ill-equipped for anything beyond calm lakes. Hitting waves often launched passengers skyward. Low freeboard. The deck sat too close to the waterline. A small weight could soak the entire cockpit. Low quality controls. Cheap plastic throttles and brittle steering systems aged terribly, often cracking or jamming under stress. Neglected safety features. Invader boats lacked adequate flotation foam, modern build systems, and basic safety features. The fallout. Invader boats may have looked cool, but their instability and impracticality turned them into a novelty item at best and a hazard at worst. While some restored versions still float around at boat shows, the brand died off quietly, remembered more for their paint jobs and seaworthiness. Sunbird boats. Flashy looks, rotten core. Owned by OMC Outboard Marine Corporation, Sunbird boats were pitched as fun, affordable runabouts and fish and skis for the average American family. Their designs looked impressive in brochures, but their quality failed under real-world use. What went wrong? Stringer failures. Poor fiberglass layup techniques left critical internal structures vulnerable to rot. Gel coat blistering. Cosmetic failures appeared early and worsened with sun exposure. Engine mount issues. Some boats had misaligned or poorly secured engine mounts, leading to vibration and steering trouble. Poor customer support. Warranty claims were often delayed or ignored by dealers. The fallout. Sunbird folded with the collapse of OMC in 2000. Owners were left stranded, parts became unavailable, and resale values tanked. Today, Sunbird is a name few want to see in a classified ad. See Nymph Boats, a corrosion case study. See Nymph made its name with aluminum fishing boats, competing with companies like Lund and Lowe. But it couldn't keep up and eventually fell behind both in innovation and durability. What went wrong? Aluminum corrosion. In salt water, the boats corroded fast, especially around welds and fasteners. Poor paint and sealing. Weak paint jobs wore off quickly, exposing bare metal to the elements. Rivets leaking. Riveted models leaked water within just a few seasons. Minimal comforts. Bench seating, no insulation, and low-end trailers made Sea Nymph boats feel cheap. The fallout. Eventually, Lowe absorbed the company and restructured the product line. The Sea Nymph name disappeared, remembered mainly by frustrated anglers and worn-out aluminum hulls still rusting on docks. The fallout. As competitors innovated, Thompson stood still. They clung to outdated manufacturing techniques, and by the mid-1990s, the business collapsed. Another legacy brand lost time. Cobra Boats. All bite, no backbone. Cobra Boats tried to appeal to anglers and racers alike with aggressive styling and base boat builds. But behind the flash was a worrying lack of durability. What went wrong? Weak hulls. Under stress, Cobra Boats often cracked at high-speed impact points. Unbalanced performance. Poorly distributed weight and erratic handling, especially with larger outboards. Outdated features. By the late 90s, the boats lacked competitive electronics, live wells, and hull coatings. The fallout. Cobra Boats couldn't compete with Ranger, Skeeter, or Triton, and its brand name disappeared by the early 2000s. Today, finding a used Cobra is like discovering a VHS tape in your garage. Curious, but not worth much. From stringers to gel coat to customer service, every detail matters. Because when you're out on the water, shortcuts can sink more than just your trip. They can sink your trust, your investment, and in some cases, even your safety. So the next time you browse a used boat listing or hear about a cheap fixer-upper, remember these names and let them rest quietly beneath the waves of history. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. We'd love to hear from you.